Hey everybody, and welcome to this episode of Romantasy Roundtable, a tale of Rick and Roses. My name is Rick, and I'm enjoying my roses.
Amanda.
And Kim.
And as always, we'd appreciate it if you consider liking this video. It would really help us out if you subscribe to the channel wherever you are listening to it from or watching it from the YouTube. If you would like to talk with us, talk about what we are currently reading or what you're currently reading or just anything in general, you can shoot us an email at romantasyroundtable@gmail.com or drop it in whatever format, comment area you are listening to it. So we would love a like, subscribe, and comment. Just like...
You can also, You can also follow us on Goodreads and Storygraph. And if you have a different book app that we're supposed to be using, you can send it to us. There's another one I downloaded. It's called like Reading Journey or something, but I haven't set it up yet. So
there's another one I heard called Tome. But
what?
Tome.
Tome.
Whatever. But you know who doesn't use Tome? Our good friend Jamie Dawes.
We don't know that about him.
It's true.
You know who probably doesn't use Tome? Our good friend Jamie Dawes from Down Under in Australia, who did leave us a comment and says, this was our first Kingdom of Ash episode. Great episode. Love this book. Love this book a lot, but uncommonly didn't like the blinking, unfortunately. Don't ask me why. I don't have a proper reason. To answer your spider question, is roughly 20 centimeters. I think that's around 8 inches. A huntsman spider, which I've seen on pictures on the inside of my car.
Ugh.
I've been getting served reels from this woman who left her job in investment banking to go work to do grant writing for a nonprofit in Africa. And she... the videos I've been getting served from her are there's snakes and scorpions and all of this stuff in her room. And it's I don't know, it's crazy. I want to look up where exactly she is.
Yeah, Jamie, you are much more brave than me because I would have burned the car down. I need you to burn the car.
I'm from Florida, which I don't know if this is world knowledge, but Florida is the Australia of the United States, I would say, in that it is far south and has crazy wildlife. Spiders aren't really the issue in Florida.
No.
I have seen alligators.
Seen plenty of gators, yes.
A lot of gators. Not far from me. You walk around my college campus like they owned the place. A lot of lizards, a lot of snakes. Flying cockroaches.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Palmetto bug's the worst.
We had a family of raccoons in our crawl space. And, I mean, this isn't, terrible, but there was a hurricane that knocked down, everyone's screened-in porches. I actually, watched ours collapse. It was crazy. So Hurricane Wilma was known for its, vortexes, which are tiny tornadoes. And so I watched leaves swirling above my pool. And then my screened-in porch went.
That's crazy.
Collapsed on itself. It was nuts. And this happened to everybody. So the wait time to get your screened-in porch fixed was months. And so we had ducks in our pool all the time. And the ducks in South Florida are really ugly. They've got red. And I was get out.
One summer I was in my office at school. And a turtle wandered in, into my office.
And you're hello.
And we still don't know how the turtle got into the building, but it was just there's a turtle. Okay. And it was a pretty big one, too. So we relocated it back out to the ball fields.
We'll do this very quickly since Jamie, I know, listens weekly. But as you can see, I'm wearing my New York City soccer jersey to celebrate the end of the World Cup, which was really boring yesterday.
It was until it wasn't.
Yeah. It was really boring for 95%.
Yeah. And Tristan kept being are you okay? And I was I'm so bored.
Well, the reason for me it was boring was because only one team was attacking for the entire game and not score. That goalie.
Yes. Yes, and also I think we need to like only one team was attacking, but I think what's really great about Spain is that every single one of their players plays defense, which is not something you can say about a lot of the like big name players in a lot of other squads. And the way that they like suffocated out Argentina's offense is like pretty wild. Like it just felt like there were 15 men on the pitch. And like Argentina couldn't even get close to the goal. But the fact that like in 90 minutes they registered not a single shot is insane.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It was wild.
But Saturday's game, the third place game, was so much fun. It was just like goals, 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 goals. I was having a blast.
Nice.
And now my crisp is done, so I have to go get my crisp.
All right.
But you can talk about soccer.
Let's see. The only person who knows anything about soccer has just walked away.
Has left the room, literally.
So what can I say about soccer? In my, I watch soccer here and there. The game probably should have been 2-0 by the end of regulation. The fact that it did go into overtime was mainly because of the goalie. That goalie was a fucking wall.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah. Well, I was with my friend Sarah, and I forced her to watch soccer, which she had never actually watched a soccer game on TV before. So the only soccer games that she had seen had been for kids. And they played for one season. They no longer play. And then we went to see Noah Khan.
Nice.
For the second time in a week and a half.
That's cool.
And I am hungover.
Nice. There you go. That means you had a good time.
And I had, yeah. It was an excellent time. It was far less rainy than it was the first time around. So, yay for that. Thank you, Noah, for having the rain only happen on one night, which was Saturday night, and that concert got canceled. And I learned that Amanda had warned me that the train back from Citi Field was going to be crowded. It didn't matter. Didn't help. I still had a panic attack.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's really bad. I would say it's the worst of the venues to get home from.
Yeah, it's bad.
That was awful. I didn't get home until after 1:00. And first off, like walked out of Citi Field, super discombobulated. So walked the wrong direction. So I was walking towards the Long Island Railroad with the people who were getting on the LIRR.
Which is lovely, but runs once every never.
Right. Figured out I
almost never take tickets.
And turned around and go the right way and was then in a line with like 30,000 people trying to get on the 7 train, where I proceeded to have a panic attack. So I just decided to start walking.
Yeah.
And so I walked. I mean, I walked like 2 stations down on the 7 train and then got on at a different station.
Yeah.
But yeah, that sucked, man.
It's
concert
crazy.
was amazing. Getting home, never want to do that again.
Of all the venues, I think, I mean, MetLife is its own category, I think, but of all the venues, I think Citi Field is the hardest one to get home from because everybody gets back the same way, right? Like,
there's nothing else to do but get on the 7 train.
I think Barclays is the easiest because there's like 20 trains. And I think MSG is probably the second easiest because first of all, you can walk to any train that you need to, but the ACE and the 1, 2, 3, like I would say it's going to be like 25%, 25%, 25%, 25%. Like it's pretty evenly split who's going up and down and who's going along which side. And so it's crazy, but it's not like, it's not the worst.
Yeah.
So we're going to start.
I was looking at bikes. I was like, it's going to take me an hour and 20 to get home on a bike, so I'm not going to do that. Anyways.
My dog has a doctor's appointment today.
Delicious.
It's good.
It's so good. I made a strawberry crisp because you got to cook your fruits and veggies in the United States these days.
So my dog has a doctor's appointment at 1 today. Similar to me, I finally made a doctor's appointment for my shoulder. I'm going to most likely get a cortisone shot on Sunday. I was like, damn, dude works on Sunday? Shoot me up. My dog tore his ligament. So they say. So has an appointment today at 1:00. So I'll probably have to leave at like 12:30, which is in not too long from Meow. He'll probably need surgery, which is fine. I have pet insurance, so that's what he needs. But similar to a dog, we have the wolf, Gabriel, in Kingdom of Ash, which is what we're reading. Would you like me to read so that you can eat your crisp?
Just for like the first few chapters, yes. But just so we know, this chapter or this section is the second half of the second half of part 1. So it's chapters 35 through 67, and Rick is going to start us off reading notes so I can eat my crisp.
I sure am going to do that in a second when I pull up this notes email that I have right here. So we are on chapter 35. After waking up in a literal subterranean cave. Oh, also, the notes were hard this week, so I think they're right. After waking up in a little subterranean cave and realizing her hard-earned training calluses were rudely healed away, a deeply traumatized Aelin Ashriver Whitethorn Galathinius finally reunites with her fiercely loyal husband, Rowan Whitethorn Galathinius. Our fiery queen immediately demands a bath in a freezing lake to tame her thrashing magic, where Rowan casually drops the excellent news that he skinned Karen alive and beheaded him on her behalf. After he drops the ultimate bombshell that the horrifying Vogue collar was just a strategic lie he concocted, the creepy little folk arrive to hand Aelin the legendary crown of Mob, officially crowning her as their queen before the traumatized squad sails into the pitch black darkness.
Rick, tell us about the visual you have for the little folk.
They're the Korok seeds. Koroks? Are they what they're called? I don't remember.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they're the Koroks from Zelda.
Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, I was going to say Twilight Princess. Breath of the Wild. That's who they are. That's what they are. I never knew what they were until I figured out what they were.
They're not creepy. We love them.
No, we do love them.
We talked in the last episode about how grateful we were that Karen died off screen. Mm-hmm. And this was enough for me.
This was good.
Yeah.
Now we have confirmation of like what it was, so it's not like he died off screen, but it is like he did.
Yeah, I almost wish I would have I hated him so much. I almost wish I would have had a timeline where it's like, I was there for like 2 hours. That would make me feel good.
Yeah,
like I almost feel bad. I'm like, oh, damn, was it only like 10 minutes?
It was not. It was not.
No, I hope not. So, all right, we're just gonna keep on going.
I will say, the theme of this set of chapters is just everybody's trauma.
Seems to be the theme of this book series.
That's fair. Yes. But I think, we're seeing it so acutely in the beginning here. We're like, Lysandra, is having Lysandra. We'll talk about Lysandra in a bit. Aelin is having trouble communicating and trusting her reality, and clearly is just so deep in just how horrific the last couple of months had been. And I give SJM a lot of credit for it because, I think to move the plot along, she could have just sort of glossed over some of this and let the characters bounce back super fast. And she didn't. She really fully fleshes out what it means to be this traumatized.
Yeah. I think if this book wasn't 1,000 pages long, she would have had to.
Yeah.
Breeze past it, but it doesn't. I know
we see that in Romantasy, we see that we're here for the plot. And so, our characterization isn't always as well developed, but I think Sarah does it really well.
Agreed. This book is very long, but it's not dragging for me.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Lysandra real quick. Do we want to do it now, or do we want to do it when she pops up in this notes? Whatever.
Let's do it when she pops up.
Okay.
I can read because unless you want to.
No, go ahead. We can take turns if you want to take a break.
Okay. I might get more crisp.
There it is.
Chapter 36. Floating through an oppressive subterranean river lit only by a lantern full of glowing star worms, Elide Lorcan fights off massive panic while reflecting on the brutal cost of Aelin spending 2 months locked in an iron coffin. Meanwhile, a brooding Lorcan Salvatore sits awkwardly close, leaving Elide deeply conflicted because he previously summoned Maeve's armada out of a misguided attempt to protect her, even though he later helped rescue the queen. At the back of the boat, a silently fracturing Aelin mentally prepares to mask her deep trauma and unleash a total facade of an unbroken firebringer, so her worried companions won't see how utterly broken she actually feels. A lot of people are mad at each other in this section. Mm-hmm. I think it is appropriate for Elide to be as mad at Lorcan as she is.
Yeah, totally. Even
And I think it's appropriate for her to forgive him when she does.
yeah, even when he explains why, she's allowed to be mad at him. But he was also under the
Yeah,
blood oath, so it's hard.
right. The redemption arc here, I think, is good.
Me too.
Which, like, we talked about this. I'm mad at Aedion forever and ever. Amen.
Okay, now we can talk about it.
No, because we haven't gotten to it
No,
yet.
no, but she first brought it up.
No. Okay. Chapter 37.
Yep.
As the squad enters creepy Barrow White territory, a reckless Aelin abruptly orders a halt at an ancient subterranean burial mound so she can shamelessly raid a dead king's massive gold hoard to fund their upcoming travels. She doesn't tell them that that's why she's doing it.
She kind of just gets off and runs away.
Basically. While Rowan quickly vaporizes a hissing ghost with his spectacular ice and wind magic, a deeply traumatized Fenris finally shifts back into human form to deliver the absolute worst news. Maeve forced Connell to commit suicide. Points to you guys because I didn't believe that she was trying to get him to stab himself. I thought she was trying to get him to stab Fenris, but you were right. She was trying to get him to stab himself. Trying her best to act like her usual snarky self, Aelin suddenly pulls out two gorgeous stolen bands, sharing an emotional knee-buckling moment with Rowan as they exchange shiny wedding rings and re-swear their ultimate romantic vow to whatever end.
Cute.
It was cute, and the rings are pretty.
Mm-hmm.
It's cute, but it also, like, again, I'm going to keep going back to this, but also it's not like they had this, like, super romantic moment, you know? Aelin is still like, okay, I know you're my mate, but I don't really want to touch you, and I don't really want to talk to you yet. Like, I'm not there. But this is, like,
she
the one
shouldn't be.
thing.
Yeah, and I think, like, in her trying to anchor herself to reality, having a tactile and visual thing, I say as I'm not wearing my ring right now, but, like, having that on her, I could imagine is like dually helpful, you know? Like, this is real and this is happening.
Right. I can, like, yeah.
Yeah. Chapter 38. Back on the boat, Fenris aggressively promises to settle things with a brutal fight against Lorcan as soon as they survive this subterranean mess, blaming the dark-haired warrior for landing them in this nightmare in the first place. Again, I think he's appropriately mad at Lorcan, and I think he doesn't forgive him, but, like, adjusts at the appropriate time. The tense bickering is cut short when Aelin and Rowan return with the legendary sword Goldrin. Okay. Successfully scaring off pissed off treasure hunting monsters by unleashing a sudden ice-kissed wind. After drifting further through the pitch black abyss, Rowan wakes our exhausted queen to witness a breathtaking sea of stars created by millions of glowing cavern worms, inspiring Aelin to fiercely fight for the world's remaining beauty, despite knowing she is ultimately destined for a sacrificial altar.
I think they're actually the hit 80s toys, glowworms.
I am a sucker for a sky full of stars. Even a sky full of fake stars, every time.
Okay, the first time I read this, I laughed just because it's like, they're describing this as like this beautiful cave that's all these stars. And I'm like, they're disgusting worms.
Yeah, but it's like starfall. Like, they're like the spirits of the...
Yeah, but they don't really know that. They, like, say that and think that.
All right, but it looks nice.
But this is like, I'm just imagining like little squishy, like, worms everywhere.
I think they're cute.
Glad it's beautiful. And yes, Rick, I like your idea of it as our...
Like, would you still love me if I was a worm kind of worm?
Yes.
39. Over in the city of Anil?
That's how I've been saying it.
Anil. The terrifying demon army finally arrives after 5 long days, prompting Nezrin Falik and her sassy companion, Borta, to scout the massive enemy lines atop their giant rucks. Birds. As the ominous Morath bone drums relentlessly beat through the night to fracture the city's morale, a busy Yrene works tirelessly to relocate families inside the ancient keep to protect them from the incoming catapult fire. Right before the massive enemy forces begin their advance at dawn, Kael confronts his armored father on the battlements and receives the ultimate double bombshell. His mother has fled, and his brilliant wife is secretly pregnant.
Yeah, his dad is just like, yeah, you don't know? Which is not a fun way to find out, especially from his dad.
It's not. And also, why does his dad know before he does?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she explained it pretty well, where she's like, yeah, I've had 2 kids, I can see this.
I guess.
I don't know.
I feel like you would know. I don't know.
Yeah, okay, but Kale has proven throughout this series to be a little bit thick.
He's only a refrigerator. We can only ask so much of him.
Thick in all sense of the words. What I thought was interesting was that like there was an opportunity here to like humanize Kale's dad. And it like almost happens where he like admits that his mother and Kale's brother pieced, like bounced.
Yeah, they left, yeah.
And it was like could have been a moment of him like showing some kind of
and yet
I know. I like that though, because it keeps.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, that's great. I just thought this while we were reading this because I remembered the part. You know, they say they're beating the bone drums, so that we have a socket, socket sighting. They're beating the bone drums so that the Westfall people are scared and they can't sleep or whatever. Do bad guys sleep? Like do the Volks? Do Volks sleep?
Oh, good question. I don't think so.
Interesting. I don't know.
Socket, what do you think?
Like, wouldn't those bone beatings keep them up too? But I guess not.
I mean, they're not human, so they might not need to.
I don't know.
And when you're the person who's terrorizing somebody else, like you're not afraid. You're like, oh, those are our drums versus like.
Right. Like if you're like the Mexican national team and you're playing songs up late, not the team, but the fans, you're playing songs up late outside of the hotel where the English national team is playing. The English national team isn't sleeping, but like you, as the Mexican fans, you're probably like, that's our song.
All right.
Lull to sleep.
Cool.
Right.
And to be clear, I'm not mad about that. I know lots of people are. I think it's fine. If you don't travel with your own sound machine and you're a professional footballer, right, like that sounds like a new problem. I don't know. All right.
I recommend loop earplugs.
Yeah, right. Chapter 40. After honorably burying a field of massacred soldiers, the fierce Manon bravely decides to unite her deeply fractured heritage by flying directly to the dangerous Farian Gap to recruit the remaining Iron Teeth witch host under Petra Blueblood. Her plans get a chaotic shakeup when she catches Dorian casually chatting with the ghost of Kaltain Rompier and discovers the reckless king intends to infiltrate Morath completely alone to steal the final word key using his newly mastered shapeshifting powers. Furious at his suicidal mission, Manon aggressively challenges the smug princeling to prove his skills by acting as their inside spy, earning herself a hilariously petty eviction from his cozy tent for the night.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
I was confused here because this is like the first time in the whole series we've gone back in time for a second. It's a few chapters later, but we're getting Manon's perspective of something that we read Dorian's perspective of a few chapters ago, and Manon comes in at the end of that chapter. So we like shifted back a second, which is fine. It's just like kind of weird that it happened a few chapters later.
I also got a little, even though I've read it already, I was like, wait, what's going on? Oh, right.
Yeah. Yeah. They be kicking each other out of each other's tents all the time.
But I like it. Dorian is he's coming into his own. I love it. He's not the same person from Throne of Glass.
He's not.
And it, like drastically, like they're all different from Throne of Glass, but I think that Dorian specifically makes the most character. I don't know if you want to use the word growth or change throughout the entire series.
Yeah, I think it's Dorian and Kale. Because we spend so long with Kale as he goes through that transformation, and with Dorian it's like a little quieter. But I think it is more profound, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Chapter 41.
41.
After using stolen Barrow White Gold to score a seriously questionable ramshackle ship.
Ramshackle
Rick,
ship.
say that 5 times fast.
Ramshackle. Well, I can't even do the one time fast.
Wow, just the one time?
Ramshackle ship. Ramshackle ship. Ramshackle ship. Ramshackle ship. Ramshackle ship.
Crushed it. Aelin and her traumatized squad finally set sail away from Maeve and straight toward the impending doom in Terrasen. Safe at sea, our favorite fiery queen and her loyal warrior Prince Rowan get cozy in the captain's quarters to hash out their heavy emotional baggage regarding Maeve's psychological illusions and his tragic past. Once they firmly establish that they are indeed endgame mates who wouldn't trade their shared trauma for any perfect dream world, they seal the deal with some incredibly intense, primal, throat-blighting, claiming action that proves not even a looming war with a Vulg king can kill the romance. I'm dying to know how Kim felt about this. It's not on the battlefield, but it is in the middle of the war.
It's not on the battlefield.
That's the line.
Right. This is not the like Feyre, there are people dying here. Or whatever the name of the character was from Blood and Ash. Poppy?
Well, what
Poppy.
about, because I just finished reading this part, what about in ACOTAR when Feyre and Tamlin meet in that little broom closet right at the end in Amarantha's little party? You don't remember that part?
Oh, they just smooch it up.
They were not about to smooch up. Rhysand was like, sup?
Yeah, that's
How do you feel about that one?
No, again, I think the worst one is Feyre and Rhysand.
Okay.
When,
I think the worst
battle
one
is literally like happening, and they're like
I think the worst one is Blood and Ash.
Oh yeah, that is the worst. I was talking about in ACOTAR.
Because they're like Feyre and Rhysand at least like go into their like tent, right? Like from Blood and Ash, they're like in a freaking carriage.
They're in a carriage.
Like, girl.
Recently abandoned by people who are now dead.
It's crazy. Yeah, I liked this. I think it's like an important piece of her like reclaiming again her reality, reclaiming her relationship with her body, which is like a new body, right? Like she has all new skin.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think this is appropriate in the timeline of her trauma. Chapter 42. Okay. Morning.
We need to have moments of joy.
Yeah.
Which is like what we say about the real world also.
Or another word that seems to come up a lot, release. Moments of release. They use that word a lot in all these books.
Ew.
That's not my fault. I didn't write the word.
Chapter 42. Morning arrives on the high seas, prompting a freshly swaggering Aelin to corner Lorcan and hand him a ruthless ultimatum regarding his sketchy past as Maeve's second in command. She demands he either swear the blood oath to defend Terrasen or face permanent exile, which would conveniently mean never seeing his beloved Elide again. Realizing he's an ancient fool completely whipped by love, Lorcan chugs her fiery jasmine and lemon verbenas flavored blood to join the court, much to the petty annoyance of a scowling Fenris. Meanwhile, Aelin gently bails on giving the oath to Elide, explaining that Parenth needs an uncompromised vote to overthrow the sketchy lords opposing her claim to the throne before she kicks off a brutal weapons training session. I loved this. I think the summary actually like doesn't do it justice. So we know that Lorcan just like was released from his blood oath. And so he may not be dying to take another one.
Right.
But she's like, I will literally only ask one thing of you, and that is to defend Terrasen.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't do this, I will not be able to trust you. Mm-hmm. And she also like assures him, she's like, Elide's going to forgive you. Like, I don't.
We went shopping. We talked.
Yeah. And then we went shopping. And then she checks with Fenris, which I also really appreciate. And Fenris is like, I'm still going to be mean, basically. And she's like, that's fine.
Wait,
like,
is this where they're like, we won't invite him to, like,
we won't invite him to holidays. Right. Which I
know. Fenris is like, I'm still going to be mean, and this guy still sucks. But fine.
Yeah, which is like, again, I think appropriate in like the evolution of Fenris. Like, if Lorcan had not done this, I don't know what his like redemption arc could have been. He does this for Elide, which like I think is important. But in doing that, he also makes it clear to Aelin that like he's part of this squad. What doesn't come up here is that Gavriel is like hurt. I don't know if that's going to come up later when like he and Rowan actually talk about it. But Gavriel is hurt, and it feels very obvious to me that it's because the reason Aelin isn't offering him the blood oath is because Aedion has to take it first.
Yeah.
Which again, Rowan says a few chapters later, but like it was one of those things where I was like, oh, did we need to say that out loud? I thought that was
Well, he needs to hear it. He's a big dumb
he
brute.
needs to hear it. Yeah. I liked this. Did you not like this?
No, I love this. This is great. There's a little bit of comic relief, especially with the whole, he won't come to holiday part. Tension with Lorcan not wanting to do it, but doing it because he knows what he wants. Yeah, this is great.
I really like, and you see this more when they get to Anil. I really like how Aelin is with the cadre. I think she's when she comes into the tent in Anil, she's they're barely housebroken. I just think it's delightful.
And we need we're gonna have for what I'm about to say. We need to have a whole episodes about literally we're sort of planning on doing it, but I finished, and we'll talk about this later in this episode, but I just finished ACOTAR. I don't know how that was the series that got popular and not this.
Yeah, I think it's less of a commitment and it's sexier.
Again,
that's it. That's
we need
the only
to
reason.
Talk about it much later, but this series is way better.
It's so much better. It's so funny. I was when we were at the picnic yesterday, I was chatting with one of Tristan's coworkers, and he seems to enjoy both fantasy and romance. And he was like, so I read ACOTAR 1 and it was fine. And I know everybody tells me it's the second book, and I interrupted him and I was like, it's the second book.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. You can't stop at 1. And I had been complaining about Crescent City only because I was complaining about Sunball.
Mm-hmm.
And complaining isn't even the right word. We were talking about sports and books. And I was like, let me tell you everything I know about Sunball. It's called Sunball.
Yes.
It is played both professionally and by college students. Mm-hmm. And you can watch it on TV.
Yes.
And it involves a Sunball hat.
Mm-hmm.
Cindy feels very strongly that Sunball is baseball.
That's what I thought it was.
Sunball seems more like rugby to me. I just imagine it being more physical than that. I just can't imagine mythical creatures choosing baseball as the sport they play. It's so complicated.
I also thought it was baseball.
Okay. That's because of the Sunball hat.
Probably. And that it's called Sunball. I don't know.
So after I said, he was like, is this a romantasy book? And I was like, yeah, it's called Crescent City. And he was like, so I read A Court of Thorns and Roses. I was like, same author. But I have to tell you, the third series by that author is Throne of Glass. And I really think that's the one you should read. I was like, you should, at this point, you've dedicated one book to ACOTAR, keep going. At least read the trilogy. But this is her best series.
It's not close.
I think at this point, even if she didn't stick the landing, which I know she does, it would be the best.
Yes, it's the best. It is the best.
I know you think ACOTAR is the worst of the 3.
I do. It's weird. It's really complicated, and we can't talk about it until you finish Crescent City.
Yeah.
All right.
I think for me, it's never gonna be. Well, we'll talk about this in our Maas first episode, but ACOTAR is the series that made me want to read again.
No, right. That's me too. It got me to learn how to read. Right.
You learned how to read for Feyre. You learned how to read with Feyre.
I learned how to read with Feyre.
You did that together.
We'll talk about it later.
We'll talk about it later. All right. Don't call me. Where are we?
43.
43. Showing off some seriously impressive shape-shifting magic, Dorian alters his face to sneak into the Farian Gap on a spy mission after ditching Damaris, the word keys, and the amulet of Orinth with Manon for safekeeping. He discovers that only Petra Blueblood and 300 witches are holding down the fort, giving Manon only, that's a lot of people, but it's not the matrons, is the key here. All right. Sokka just deeply sighed like she pays the rent. She didn't like that. Giving Manon the perfect opening to pitch a wild Iron Teeth Krogan alliance to the hostile crowd. To prove that their grandmothers are power-hungry tyrants feeding them lethal lies, a badass Astrid proudly flashes her brutal, unclean brand, successfully moving the tearful crowd to choose a future of peace over Morath's endless bloodshed.
In one of the most girl boss moves ever.
I'm genuinely surprised it doesn't say that.
It's because
in this moment, I was grateful that I had, in my headcanon, had cast Florence Pugh as Astrid because I think she would crush this moment. Yeah. But I also think she'd be a really good Aelin.
This is good. This is great. I live for witch chapters.
I know.
Yeah. And I will say too, I like that, she's like, this is what was done to me, but how many of you had something similar possibly done to you? And so I think that acknowledgement that like the terror of the matrons is much more extensive than we really can ever know is really important.
And I think also like the clear shock from the 13
because they didn't know either.
Didn't know either. And I think like that just goes to show how significant it was when she told Manon. And that she's doing this. All right, chapter 44. Aelin wakes up screeching from a horrific nightmare where Karen and Arabin slice her up on an altar. That's crazy. Taunting her for being a lamb to the slaughter, chosen by the gods, and Elena. Do they use the phrase lamb to the slaughter, or are the notes using it?
Unclear.
Okay. We don't have time for this, but I despise the phrase lamb to the slaughter. It is a phrase that is frequently used to describe the way that Jewish victims behaved during the Holocaust. The vast majority of my work around Holocaust education has been in dispelling that myth. So I think I would have clocked it if they had used the phrase in the book, because I
don't think they do.
It would have gone in my like SJM is Jewish and knows her stuff category. But anyway, similarly, to accuse Aelin of being a lamb to the slaughter is insane. Like, this woman resisted, like, existence is resistance, and this woman resisted with like every fiber of her being. So anyway, desperate to distract herself from her lingering trauma and her grumbling dormant fire magic, she drags Rowan into a grueling, blister-inducing dawn sparring match in a muddy inn courtyard. I like thought they were still on the boat.
Me too.
And I was like, where are you sparring?
There was a big storm, so they got off the boat so they could go sleep.
Did they tell us that?
Yeah.
I also missed that.
Afterwards, she shares a bittersweet trauma bonding moment with Fenris, who is suffering from his own magic stifling grief over Connell's death. However, their gloomy chat gets abruptly cut short when Rowan literally plunges from the sky in hawk form to point out a terrifying new aerial threat flying straight toward them. Ruh-roh. Chapter 45. Westfall Keep is getting absolutely pulverized by Morath's army, forcing a heavily exhausted Yrene to run a bloody sickbay while privately harboring the massive secret that she is pregnant. Meanwhile, on the battlements, a cane-wielding Kale acts like an absolute boss from his horse-braced saddle, rallying the terrified forces of Anil right as a monstrous siege tower, too many fucking kinds of towers, violently breaches the castle walls. Up in the skies, Nezrin and Sartok rain hell from their rucks until Princess Hazar's Dargan cavalry spectacularly charges the eastern flank, pushing the dark forces back just long enough for a tense evening war council that gets interrupted by a totally unexpected guest.
Who's that going to be?
Who's that girl? La, 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 la. But then we get 2 chapters that don't.
Tell us who's that girl.
Yeah. All right, we'll talk about that in 2 chapters. Chapter 46. Aedion is stressed out and Parenth trying to hold the line with a depleted army while Aelin is missing, leaving him to defensively bang Ro's shield to mask a clever ice-cracking trap on the frozen Lannis River. The plan briefly goes swimmingly when Fae Royals Endymion and Selene shatter the ice and send thousands of Morath soldiers to a watery grave, but the creepy Volg princes simply march the remaining horde over the frozen bodies. That was crazy.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Lysandra does her best ghost leopard impression to shred the enemy. It's not an impression.
No, she is.
She's a ghost leopard.
She is.
She's not.
Ghost leopard.
Yeah, she's not Aelin, because Aelin's a person, but a ghost leopard is a creature, a species that she can be one of. Anyway, best ghost leopard impression to shred the enemy, but Terrason's lines break into pure chaos as the Ilkin launch a brutal ambush, leaving her completely isolated.
Oh, right. Wait, no, not this part. This wasn't the part where she's Aelin.
No.
Okay.
No. She is about to be? Yeah, okay. She's about to be. So chapter 47. Just as Aedion accepts their impending doom, a rumor spreads that the queen has arrived, but it's actually a brave Lysandra rocking Aelin's skin to rally the fleeing troops on the right flank. After Lysandra gets her thigh brutally shredded by Ilkin talons, a guilt-ridden Aedion charges in to save her, throwing the sword of Orinth to decapitate one beast while she gets the other. The soldiers successfully reform Terrason's lines, but their celebration is cut short when the Iron Teeth witches roll up with a terrifying Wordstone Witch Tower. There's too many towers. And execute a devastating, yielding blast that obliterates 4,000 men into pure ash.
All right, we have a lot to talk about here.
Okay.
So, first thing is, like I've said it a bunch of times before, but I thought Lysandra was dead here.
I did too.
Interesting. I didn't think that the first time I read it. I didn't think it was her moment yet. But it's another sort of sign of like what she's willing to sacrifice and like what she knew that she had committed herself to by agreeing to play the part of Aelin. That she was like, yeah, I know that I might have to put my life on the line, or I might have to sacrifice myself completely. So I think it's phenomenal.
And
she has not sworn the blood oath.
No.
Right.
But she has.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like she is likely Aelin's, I mean, other than Rowan, and that's complicated. I think she's likely Aelin's most loyal
person.
soldier.
Yeah.
Well, and we get more into sort of like a little bit more of her trauma in a couple chapters from here too. But I think this is so in keeping with like what her life had been also, in that she has a friend. Like she'd even said in one of the earlier books that Aelin is really sort of like her first friend. Sam and Aelin were. And so she is like so committed to doing what she needs to do for her one true friend and her cause. So
what was I going to say? Oh, right. There's another thing. And it was basically at this moment where Aedion was like, oh shit, I fucked up. I'm so sorry. You had that realization of like how bad he was being to her, and it kind of like snapped him into reality.
Which is similar to like what happens with Elide and Lorcan later, where it's like you really like you don't know what you got till it's gone.
Right.
And I think like the fear of losing somebody is like, this is a trope, but it's a trope for a reason, right? Like I think it happens to people in real life all the time.
And we finally see what the witch towers do, which is crazy.
The yielding.
We see the yielding for the first time. And
I think when that came up, I was like, all right, so that's going to happen.
Yeah, but it's crazy. It's like fucking suicide bombers, that's like channeled into a beam of death. I think he said like 4,000 soldiers died in that one yielding.
Yes.
Yeah, and also too, I just like how much Erewhon is willing to sacrifice the witches in every possible way. And what the matrons, again, sort of like committed their kind to doing. And it's like, oh yeah, like sure, we'll have a witch do the yielding to, function these towers and to cause all this devastation on behalf of Erewhon. So
and again, I'm like, I understand I can't ascribe human morality to non-humans, but I'm like, how are the witches not understand? Like, how are they not all going through what Manon? Maybe they are, but like, if I were a witch, I would be like, I don't really understand how this serves which kind.
Yeah.
Like this kind of seems like it's serving some other guy, and he's like maybe going to give us our land, but I don't even know if he can do that.
Yeah.
And also
like I've lived for hundreds of years, and now I'm gonna like jump into a tower for you. Like no.
Like for what? Genuinely for what reason? And to like, the foot soldier witch, that reason is like because the matron told me to, and that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
I guess it's probably just how they're made, as Manon's sister had said, like since birth, they're probably just made to believe you do what the matron tells you.
Right. It's who they're taught that they are. Like they're taught they can't love. They're taught they have no heart. They're taught their loyalty is to their clan. And like, I think again, like goes to show how special the 13 is. That, like, yeah, I mean, I guess their loyalty is to their leader too, and their leader just like developed a soul. but I think she allows them to make their own choices a little bit in that way. All right, chapter 48. We're back in Anil, and a heavily limping Kale and his pregnant wife, Yrene, gather in Princess Hazar's war tent alongside Sartok and Nezrin to calculate their next moves against Morath. The strategy session turns into a massive family reunion when a mud-splattered Aelin, Rowan, and their dangerous entourage burst in, leading to happy tears, a heartwarming throwback to Yrene's old letter from Inish, and the shocking reveal that Aelin and Rowan are officially married. After introducing her deadly court members, including Gavriel, Lorcan, and Fenris, and the long-lost Elide Lockin of Parenth, Aelin immediately hijacks the war map to figure out how they are going to beat the living shit out of the enemy. This chapter was so good. Like we knew
they're back. Backstreet's back.
Backstreet's back. We knew we were going to get a reunion, right? I knew that Aelin would reunite with somebody at this point in the book. I don't know if I knew, like, I think I thought maybe it was going to be the witches first. I don't know. But the fact that she just like walks right into the war tent, I said this a few seconds ago, but like, I love the way she is with the cadre and that she's like, they're barely housebroken. I love her and Kale like seeing each other's growth and recognizing like in separating from each other, we have found like who we need to be and who we need to be with. I love that. And God, Yrene and the letter is so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
I appreciate that Kale immediately clocks that her scars are gone also.
Yeah.
Which I think, you know, turns to your point of like, they're both having this moment of like, I see you. And like, you know, I recognize who you are now. The fact that he can be like, I see you and I can see what's different.
Right.
And I know people, we've talked about this a million times, but this is another reason why I like reading Assassin's Blade first is because like the letter in that original moment with Aelin and Yrene, since it was the first book, really does feel that long ago.
Yeah.
Like had you dropped it in the middle, it's a flashback, which is fine. But like since you read it first, it is the beginning and it just feels like such a long time has passed. I
think also like if you drop it in the middle, I think you know every single thing in Assassin's Blade is going to come back. And at the beginning, I think, I don't know, like I knew some stuff was going to come back. Like I knew we were going to see Yrene again and I knew she was going to be a healer. Because otherwise, like, why tell this story? But the fact that she like held on to the letter, I think is so significant. I'll also say as my sister was finishing the tandem read, she was like, do we know like what the piece of paper is that Yrene's putting in her locket? And I was like I know, and I know that I knew at that moment. Yes, but right. I guess like I know that I was like, they're going to talk about it by the end of this book. But in the back of my head, I was like, does she really not know?
Yeah.
It's like, it is possible that was so long ago that people might not remember exactly what it was, you know? And so that's cool.
Okay. Go ahead. No, go ahead. Nope. No, I had texted you guys this, but I'll just say it now on air. So like, we always dismiss Kale, right, as this dorky guy, but like, let's look at who we hooked up with in this series. Aelin, Nezrin, and Yrene. And the only other person to hook up with three people in this series is Aelin, who's Kale, Rowan, and Sam. And if you put those three against each other, I think Kale wins.
And Dorian a little bit. She kisses Dorian.
That's fine. But like, hook up. You know, like, I think Kale wins with those three names versus Aelin's three. And you never think of Kale like that. Like, he's just like this dorky fool, you know?
I thought of Kale like that. I always loved Kale. I'm a Kale apologist. All right, chapter 49. Aelin eagerly plots to convince the Khaganate forces to march north to Terrasen, but Princess Hazar demands to be impressed before committing her legendary Dargan cavalry and majestic rucks. I appreciate that she's like, game recognized game. I think you're a badass. Prove it. Mm-hmm. And I like that. I lost my place. Okay, the War Council gets a bizarre interruption when a newly youthified shifter named Falcon bursts in, revealing he is Lysander's uncle and recognizes Aelin from an old horse thieving incident in Xandria. The mood takes a terrifyingly icy plunge when Nezrin drops the ultimate lore bomb. The creepy Stygian spiders are actually Valg. They answer directly to their one true Valg queen, the deceptively ancient Maeve.
This is where they learn for the first time, right?
This is where they learn for the first time.
Oh, yeah, and... yeah, so we
might appreciate that Falcon's entry also sort of puts us in time and space. Mm-hmm. Also, as because like all of our friends are off doing different things right now, but now we know like when Serene the spider died. Yeah. Because this is the moment where he's like, oh my gosh, I got my youth back because Dorian had killed the spider.
Right.
Yeah. Rick, I'm going to make you read chapter 50 because I'm going to get more food.
Great. The Valg Queen revelation completely shatters Rowan and his crew as they realize Maeve brainwashed ancient legends like Brannon and glamored her own blood to hide her true demonic identity. A deeply traumatized Aelin breaks down in the freezing night, reaping to Rowan that her precious fire has been completely snuffed out after her brutal 2-month captivity under Maeve and Karen. After Rowan lovingly reminds her to keep fighting, Gabriel notes that Maeve deeply fears fire and healers, while questioning why Aelin hasn't offered him the blood oath yet, which is actually out of respect for Aedion. So that's what we spoke about earlier. Right. But I think the whole big thing about this is the cadre reacting to Maeve being Valg. You know?
Yeah. I know, and like I said, this whole section is about everyone's trauma, and so like watching the whole cadre now as they are sort of working through like this trauma of like, holy shit, this is the person that I had sworn the blood oath to and been so loyal and given my entire life to for hundreds of years is actually the big bad, is a lot to take in. I also like the visual of all of them being like, did her blood taste bad? Did her blood taste bad? Did I really eat that? Like, and they're kind of like, well, like, I thought that was also sort of like a little comic relief as they're talking about.
Chapter 51. Our favorite immortal brooder, Lorcan, lingers in a Ruck encampment while stressing out over the fact that his former queen Maeve is actually a Valg demon who totally laughed at his affection. Elide interrupts his pity party to argue about his toxic ex dropping an emotional bomb when she admits she loved a monster too, before lying that she doesn't care if he dies on the battlefield. A disappointing Gabriel calls her out for kicking down a male, revealing Lorcan swore a blood oath to Aelin just to stay near her, while nearby, Nezrin and Prince Sartak wrap up the chapter with some classic pre-war flirting before a massive battle to launch.
Yeah.
Chapter 52. Manon and the 13 return empty-handed to the chilly Croken camp in the Fangs, where the ancient Glennis stirs a sacred fire and delivers the depressing news that the witches are retreating to their home hearths. Glennis softens this total lack of an army by explaining how Manon's late half-sister, Rhiannon, beautifully believed that they could overcome their bloody history to rule a united witch kingdom together. Meanwhile, a deeply reflective King Dorian ignores the creepy whisperings of the word keys, grips his glowing sword Damaris, and decides to cope with his messed-up inheritance by shifting to a raven to practice flying for a dangerous solo mission to Morath.
And this was the moment where I was like, Dorian's going to die.
This isn't the moment where I thought Dorian's going to die. I don't know where we stop, but there is a moment where I was like, Dorian is going to die.
There's a second moment where I was like, Dorian's going to die.
Yeah.
Well, I felt that way just because of the back and forth between him and Manon, in that like clearly they care about each other, but they're also like are not fully committing. And we get that as the book goes on too. And so it was just like, okay, if they're not endgame, is that foreshadowing that they're not endgame because he's not going to be around?
Yeah, I mean, this is a part where I thought he was going to die. I think I said it last time where I was like, I think he's going to sacrifice himself for Aelin so that she doesn't have to do it. And he's going to like make amends for his father and all this stuff.
Right. Yeah, I agree. All right, keep going.
Sure. Chapter 53. Lysandra wakes up in agonizing pain inside a dim tent, only to find a thoroughly traumatized Aedion delivering terrible news that they have yielded Parenth and have been fleeing for 2 days. Her day gets worse when she realizes she shifted back to human form during surgery, completely blowing her cover and exposing the entire demoralized army that Aelin is actually missing. After Lysandra icily rejects Aedion's apology and boots him out, the absolute worst politician ever, Darrow, arrives to officially strip him of his rank, steal the Sword of Orinth, and leave the army utterly trapped near the bridgeless Florin River as Morith closes in.
This sucks.
This whole chapter is like devastation after devastation.
Yeah.
However, one thing to note, for all of you out there who might be doing the Ripped Bodice Summer Bingo, if you need the Smells Like Grass square, first page of chapter 53, you get it.
says that Lysandra recognizes Aedion because he smells like fresh cut. She says new grass, which is like, I'm not faking it. I'm not looking for hay. I'm not like reading the pot shot and like being like, oh, marijuana is fresh cut grass. No, new grass. Nailed it. Thank you, Kim, for reassuring me that this was going to count. I'm crushing it. And Mingo, we'll talk about this at the end of the episode.
Can I talk about Lysandra and Aedion real quick?
No, you might talk about Lysandra.
So I found this reel this morning, and it was it's this woman reading the book, and the caption says, I don't know, if I was Lysandra, I would never have forgave Aedion's bitch ass. And last year, that is where I was at. Until I read the first comment, and multiple comments that agreed with the first comment, and now I think they're just both wrong. And the first comment is, if I were Aedion, I would never forgive Lysandra and Aelin for plotting to pimp him out without his consent. Breeding him without his consent, forcing him to father children he could never claim. Imagine if the genders were reversed. And I'm like, oh shit, I never thought about that. They're both
This
wrong.
is one of those everyone sucks here situations. And I understand the stakes are really high. But yeah, it wasn't a good
plan.
What we doing?
Like this person says, I don't know, dude, their plan to have her be Aelin, then get pregnant by Aedion, and have her raise the kid as Rowan and Aelin's was pretty fucked up.
It's fucked up. And I'll say also, like, when Lysandra gets like gravely injured as Aelin and shifts back, I'm like, this was going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, eventually they were going to notice she doesn't have fire magic. Like, this was going to happen. I don't know how long, like, how did they think this was going to be able to be maintained long enough for Lysandra as Aelin to bear children? Also, we know from shapeshifting in ACOTAR that shapeshifting as a pregnant person is very dangerous. Mm-hmm. And so, I don't know. This was the moment where I was like, this was a bad plan.
Yeah.
Like, in retrospect, like, what the fuck was Aelin thinking?
Well, also, I mean, I think what she was thinking was it's never going to get this far.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You know, this was truly supposed to have been like Plan Z, you know?
Yeah.
And so the fact that they were having to go through the motions for at least the initial parts of it, but like they really didn't know that it was actually going to happen this way. So.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I think this is one of those like hurt people.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have two thoughts here. The first is I don't know how Lysandra and Aedion come back from this. I think they will because it's a romance. And I think they'll figure it out, but I don't know. And more importantly, I don't know how Terrasen comes back from this. The betrayal of like how many of them put their lives on the line for fake Aelin. And like, if I were a soldier, I'd be like, how fucking dumb do you think I am? That like, I wasn't going to figure out that Aelin didn't have fire.
Yeah.
I don't know. I appreciate Aedion leaving here and being like, I meant everything I said to you on the beach. But other than that, I don't know. Darrow sucks. And also like,
everybody sucks right now.
Somebody has to pay for the fact that he deceived, like he's the general and he deceived his army. Like,
yeah,
you're the leader. You're like, accept responsibility, deny credit. That's leadership. Like you gotta be strict to your title. The sword is a bummer.
Yeah, the sword did felt like too much because it was like, that's the family sword.
Yeah.
I agree, and I think, and Aelin had said it at some point too, where she was like, I understand where Darrow is coming from, because if I was in his position, I would do the same.
Yeah.
And so, like, shaping him as the bad guy here, like, he's not the bad guy, like you're saying. Like, he's making decisions on behalf of his country, his kingdom, that he's got to make. And it sucks for our friends, but also, like, yeah, he's not wrong. I'm just really happy, though, that whatever else happens in this chapter, Lysandra at least gets to, like, give Aedion his true, like, dress down here of, like, you fucking left me in the snow naked and, like, didn't give a shit, and fuck you. And so I at least like that she has her moment.
Yeah.
And like you said, like airing her previous trauma and being like, I have been like used and abused my entire life and I've never been that kind of humiliated.
Yeah.
Which is like, yeah. Lysandra, I love you.
Yeah.
Do you want to keep reading?
I can read. Okay. Chapter 54. While hand feeding his majestic black mare Farasha, Feroshi, I would call her. Socket's best friend's name is Hiroshi, and she's ferocious, so we call her Feroshi. Kale gets the ultimate joyful shock when his lovely wife Yrene reveals she is 2 months pregnant.
Yay.
Their celebration is short-lived as they head into the Great Hall of Anil, where Aelin and Rowan meet Kale's awful father, resulting in the queen spectacularly roasting the old lord and telling him to rot in hell. Loved that at the end where she's like, and please kindly rot in hell. Over a chicken dinner, the inner circle realizes Aelin is the direct maternal heir to Mab's line, officially making her the fairy queen of the West, before she suffers a terrifying nightmare about a dark stone coffin and swears to never be helpless again. I don't know about the fairy queen of the West, man.
It's silly.
So there's like, like the Kingdom of Threads put out some new Throne of Glass merch, and one of those like a sticker that has all of her various titles on it. I was like, it's funny that they left out the fairy queen of the West.
This chapter has a Jewish reference that I clocked. Okay. Are you ready for the Jewish?
I'm ready for the Jewish.
When they're talking about the throne passing, the throne passes through the maternal line to the female line only.
Yeah, historically, Judaism is maternally inherited. I think nowadays you're Jewish if you're Jewish. But the reason for that, and I imagine also the reason for this, is that before DNA, you couldn't prove paternal ancestry, but you can prove maternal ancestry because she birthed you. And so you can definitively say, like, this Jewish woman bore a Jewish child, or this, heir bore an heir. And you can't prove that she wasn't sleeping around.
Yep.
All right, chapter 55. King Dorian spends his morning testing out a brand new female witch form, finding the physics of walking around with breasts to be a highly educational experience. He's like so real for this.
Yeah.
His practice is crashed by Manon, resulting in a toxic high-tension banter session where Dorian uses his invisible phantom hands to caress her neck while mocking her intense fear of admitting her true feelings. After Manon flees to Glennis at the camp's hearth to brood over his words, the peace is violently shattered when 3 enemy wyverns tear through the sky, forcing her to draw a wind cleaver as the deadly Iron Teeth matrons arrive for an ambush. Chapter 56, family reunions are the absolute worst, especially when your evil grandma, the Blackbeak matron, rolls up to Glennis's camp alongside Cressida Blueblood and the Yellowlegs matron, who, like, weirdly doesn't have a name.
Yes.
Was rudely flaunting Rhiannon's crown. Instead of playing nice, Manon draws a line in the snow with Windcleaver, survives a chaotic 3-on-1 Iron Teeth witch fight, and slickly decapitates the Yellowlegs matron after baiting her into a trap. After slapping the crown of stars onto her own head and forcing her cowardly grandma to flee on a wyvern, Manon is officially crowned Queen of Witches by annealing Glennis, finally uniting the Crokins and the Blackbeaks.
10 stars.
And the stars. So the crown like glows for her. I love this. The fact that the Yellowlegs matron like can't catch a break. Like Baba Yellowlegs is dead, and now this nameless person is dead. She tells Cressida Blueblood, like, go back and tell them this happened. Because I think she views Petra Blueblood still as a potential ally, and that's a possible thread there. And the fact that she makes her grandmother flee as a coward, I think everything we know about witch culture is like absolutely more humiliating than if she had killed her.
Yeah.
And like she's got to have her own one-on-one thing. Like that's action movie 101. Yeah, Queen of the Witches.
Love it.
Chapter 57. Before dawn at the Anil Keep, Rowan is stressing over why a magicless Aelin refuses to unleash her fire against Morath's army. Until Fenris reveals Karen's gauntlet torture completely traumatized her hands. Naturally, the crew shrugs off the angst by robbing a vault for Asterian forged armor and a shiny golden shield before heading up to the battlements. Just as the mortal soldiers are about to lose their minds over the approaching siege towers, Aelin executes a flawless entrance in a bronze battle crown and proceeds to absolutely obliterate Volg foot soldiers with Goldrin, proving she doesn't need magic to inspire her men. Again, our girl's an assassin. She was an assassin before she had access to her magic. I love that they steal a bunch of armor.
What kind of armor?
Like, thank you. A bunch of armor?
What kind of though? What kind is it called?
Asterian forged armor. That's the horses, right?
That is the horses.
Okay.
And
Which
also
sounds like from a different
book series.
What?
Who are the people in the Crescent City? The Astari.
Those are like the rulers?
Yeah.
Guys, there's so many words in Crescent City.
Okay, well that's one you need to know.
I know that the Malaks are the angels because that means angel in Yiddish.
Oh, that's cool.
I texted you that.
You text me a lot.
Chapter 58. While Elide is busy dodging flying internal organs in the Great Hall beside Yrene Westfall, she is also quietly drowning in regret over being incredibly mean to her favorite brooding companion. Meanwhile, the Battle of Anil gets wildly complicated while Nesrin and Sartak fly their rucks to stop a squad of Morath soldiers from blowing up a mountain dam that would drown the entire plane. Back on the ground, Lorcan decides this is the perfect moment to embrace his emo death song, drops his magical shields, and promptly gets brutally stabbed in the gut by a random Volg soldier before passing out in the freezing mud.
I thought he was dead. I wasn't sure. This was a question. This is a question mark for me.
There was a moment where I thought he was dead. This was not it.
Okay.
Chapter 59, the good news is the Kaganate army won the battle. The bad news is the dam is totally compromised and a giant tidal wave of freezing doom is about to erase them all. This was a moment where I was like, uh-oh. While Aelin and the boys,
that's a band.
Stare blankly from the battlements in despair, Elide realizes Lorcan is still out there and demands someone go fetch him. When a traumatized Fenris admits his shadow walking magic is temporarily out of order, he doesn't know if he has access to it because it was a power that he and his brother shared. And so he doesn't, I think it's like trauma for him to do it. And also he doesn't know if he can.
His magic is like the teleporting.
Yeah.
I meant to talk about this episodes ago and I forgot to say it. But the way that they describe his teleporting is that he says, I don't know, I just sort of fold the area into each other, which is exactly how they describe it in ACOTAR.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Elide takes matters into her own hands, hijacks Kale's terrifying blackmail Farasha, and charges directly into the apocalyptic wasteland to find.
Oh, no.
The way that she, this horse hates everybody. And the way that she walks up to the horse and she's like, I need you to do me a solid. And the horse is like, okay.
Right. Let's do it.
Yeah. Which we'll hear about a little bit in the next. So in the next chapter, they talk about how Lorcan is directly connected to the god of death.
Mm-hmm.
And Elide is directly connected to this other god.
God of luck or something like that?
Who is that god's companion.
Yeah.
And the horse has been nicknamed Hela's horse.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, maybe it is Hela's horse. Anyway, chapter 60, up on the battlements, Chaol, Rowan, and Yrene watch in absolute horror as Elide rides Farasha, Hela's horse, straight into the jaws of an oncoming watery destruction. Guided by a literal highway of freshly minced bog demons, our brave heroine locates a severely wounded Lorcan, bleeding out from a catastrophic spine injury under a pile of corpses. Gross.
What?
After hitting him with an aggressive motivational speech about her promise to always find him, Elide hoists his massive fey body onto the horse and commands Farasha to outrun the impending flood back to the keep gates. I do not know how this horse makes it.
I was worried about the horse, and I don't even know the horse that well. And I was like, if this horse dies, I'm not going to be happy. Because go ahead.
I almost texted you guys and was like, I need to be prepared. Is the horse going to die?
Right. I haven't cared about a horse ever, maybe.
That's crazy.
You know?
There's horses to care about.
Right?
But the way she describes it,
she's like... one horse moment.
She's like, Farasha's heart was beating so hard. I was like, oh, Lord, the horse is going to die.
The horse is going to explode.
Also, having just come from NoahCon last night, when I was listening to NoahCon last week, because that's all I've done is watch him and listen to him for the last couple weeks, listening to the song All Them Horses, which is about horses dying in the flood.
But no.
Made me think of Farasha.
Well, a really sad song.
Yeah.
All right, chapter 61. Our favorite brooding immortal, Lorcan, is clinging to consciousness as his horse Farasha, while a severely battered Anil Dam threatens to wipe the entire battlefield off the map. Realizing they aren't going to outrun the impending tidal wave, he delivers a tear-jerking confession of love and tries to drop off to save her. This was the moment where I was like, he's going to die. But Elide is like, fuck you. Elide unleashes her inner boss lady.
Oh.
New and refuses to let him go, forcing their mighty horse to fly like the wind. I was shocked. I really thought, I was like, this would be a great death. But Elide was like, no. Just as the massive wall of water explodes outward and Rowan starts praying to the gods, Aelin casually hitches a ride on Arcus the Ruck, drops directly into the splash zone, and raises her arms to show this wave who is actually in charge.
Oh, shit. And then obviously we talk about, the next chapter continues this, right?
Sure doesn't.
What?
Chapter 62, after the 13 and the Crokins retreat to a frosty new hideout in the Fangs.
Manon and the boys? What?
Sorry, I don't know if this happens to other people, but I had this thing where I like sucked in a breath, and if I don't get it under control immediately, I'm going to get the hiccups.
Oh.
And you both share space with me, so you know that if I get the hiccups, I'm going to have the hiccups for the foreseeable future. So I needed to lock that up. Okay. Frosty new hideout in the Fangs. Manon crashes Dorian's tent, sporting her flashy new crown of stars for a little late-night debrief about her grandmother's humiliating defeat. While she deduces that the king plans to fly solo into the Morath death trap the very next morning, she frantically tries to checkmate his departure by shedding her clothes and offering a permanent matrimonial alliance to unite their fractured kingdoms. Following a wildly passionate skin-to-skin final coupling where he demands she leave that starlight crown on, our sneaky king slips away into the dawn, leaving Manon to wake up to a freezing bed and the realization that he ghosted her to steal the 2 word keys. This is a bummer, but it is a moment where like she offers herself to him and he's like, she's never going to be happy with that.
Yeah, Dorian. Yay.
And I have thought a couple times in this book, like, I've thought this, like, honestly, with Yrene and Chaol, too, where I'm like, they are both needed in different places in the world. Like, I don't actually know. Like, everyone else can kind of end up in Terrasen, right? But, like, Dorian needs to be in Adarlan, and Manon needs to be in the Waste. Yeah. And I don't know how they're going to make that work. And this is the moment where it's like, they're not.
Yeah. And and as I said a couple chapters ago, this was the moment where I was like, oh, he's dead.
Yeah, this was the second moment.
Yeah, we're getting there.
This is it. Yeah. All right, chapter 63, because we're checking in with everybody. Things look downright apocalyptic for Aedion and his frostbitten troops as they prepare for a gruesome final stand against the oncoming Morath army on the banks of the Florian River. The psychological warfare hits an all-time high when the demons start launching the decapitated heads of Ansel of Briarcliff's soldiers into the snow, causing a heartbroken Lysandra in her ghost leopard form to snarl in absolute fury. Fortunately, the pirate Lord Rolf and his Mycenaean fleet arrive in the nick of time, turning the tide with a spectacular display of fire lances, which we learned about in the last book, that cooks the demons, secures a messy naval evacuation, and buys the survivors a ticket straight toward the fortified walls of Orinth.
While I was reading this, I did have a question. What's a fire lance?
I think it's like a flamethrower.
That's exactly what I landed on in this second read through. Okay. Yes. Okay.
They talk about it in, it's Tower of Dawn, right? Because the Kaganate is like the one that sells.
Ordering it, yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's like a flamethrower.
Yeah, that's what I figured now too.
Which is what I'm going to call flamethrower. They're going to be fire lances
yeah.
henceforth. All right. Chapter 64. Aelin has done some crazy magic shit. Nothing. Yeah, tell us about it.
She Dark Phoenix this shit, or just regular Phoenix did. She stood in front of this, 30-foot wave and just became fire incarnate, and just vaporized the wave. Like she turned it all into steam, and then Rowan used his wind power and blew the steam away so they didn't get melted. It was pretty wild. It was pretty awesome.
And I think an incredible example of what Aelin's capable of, and also an incredible example of why she and Rowan are Karanam, because their magic does work so well together.
Yeah.
So, all right. Hours after Aelin's mind-blowing magical fireworks show, a thoroughly exhausted Yrene is busy patching up the battlefield casualties. Is it going to talk about this?
What?
About how she was saving it for Maeve. Let's talk about it now.
Sure.
So she had been digging deep into the well of her power, which is something that we've heard about for a couple books. It happens in Empire of Storms, where she goes deeper than she's ever gone before. She had been digging deep into the well of her power this entire time. And the reason she hadn't been using her magic is because she was saving up this
killing blow
for Maeve. And so she sacrifices that to do it here.
Yeah.
And Rowan clocks it immediately that that's what she's doing. All right. Wait, where are we? Oh, okay. Yrene is busy patching up the battlefield casualties in Anil and trying not to freak out over the godlike power she just witnessed. While Prince Cashin's army arrives, that's Land Prince, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Arrives to give everyone a much-needed sigh of relief, Lorcan finally wakes up from his brush with death under the sarcastic watch of Fenris, which I loved. Once they are left alone, Elide and Lorcan drop their emotional guards to engage in a beautifully tender confession of love, culminating in an intense, toe-curling kiss before the brooding warrior uses a flicker of his dark magic to permanently cure her limp.
Well, not permanently, but
temporarily. I loved this, and I also love that she was like, "Oh, we're not having sex right now.
Right.
You almost died. Can you recover, please?"
Right.
Which again, is similar to Crescent City when I don't know, Sarah's never gonna let those two have sex.
Right.
I also like you're saying how Fenris is the one who's there, and he's basically okay, you're not dead. And then also and Elide comes in and he's like, I'm out of here. I'm not
I don't want to be here for this. All right, chapter 65. Dawn breaks with Manon nursing a metaphorical hangover upon realizing Dorian abandoned her bed to fly solo straight into Morath. The pity party is instantly cut short when a breathless scout arrives, screaming that Terrasen calls for aid because Morath is currently marching to sack Orinth. Seizing her destiny, the newly minted Queen of Witches officially answers the call and plunges a branch into the eternal fire to ignite the legendary flame of war. This fiery summons ripples across the continent from village to village, inspiring hidden red-cloaked Krokan witches to dust off their ancient swords, mount their brooms, and launch into the sky for an epic ride to war. I loved this.
Love it.
This, I think, is like one of my favorite scenes in the whole series so far.
Me too. This is one of my favorite scenes in the whole series. Like I always remember this part.
Yeah, and I think something that she does really well in this series, like there are like two other, like it happens with like the resistance in the like in the slave camp, and it happens with the orchestra. These like nameless, faceless people who are just like rallied to action by the cause. And I think all of those are incredibly memorable scenes because they don't happen to our main characters. And I think Sarah does that really well in this series. I also love the little nod to the townspeople being like, I was a witch
Right.
this whole time.
I bought milk from her.
Well, and this was like the rebels when they were sharing out the news that Aelin had returned, and they were like going village to village, and so like this felt sort of like a reference back to that also. And I always think about Lord of the Rings and the lighting of the fires as the like call to arms here. So yeah,
they ride like Paul Revere, and when the neighbors are asking them where they're from, the Croaken witches are like, I'm not from around here.
Yeah,
right. What?
That is a Noah Khan song.
I know.
And he played at Fenway when I was there.
What I think that SJM does really well in this series and in all of them, I mean, we even see it in ACOTAR, is she's patient. Like, and in this scene specifically, like, we've heard about the Croaken since Heir of Fire, but have never seen them.
Right, the fact that they're like hiding in plain sight.
Right. So 4 or 5 books later, we finally see them, and like, I'm not going to say anybody else, but like some people would take the quick way out and be like, the Croakens are hiding by the end of that same
I'll
book.
say anybody else, Jennifer Armentrout.
Right. But she...
Homegirl has written 7,000 books and still everything happens in 5 minutes.
Right. It's just way better if you're patient and you get the payoff.
Agreed. Chapter 66. After waking up from a 3-day power nap, I love that the Fae need to rest. Aelin shares a cozy moment with Rowan and casually mentions that she sent a spicy, strongly worded letter to Doranel accusing Maeve of being a Vogue demon to incite a royal coup. She did that a while ago, before she knew that she was Vogue, because she had that moment where she thought she saw black blood.
Right. She's like, I did this, but I wasn't sure, but who cares?
Which, I love. The power couple. So they have this conversation here where Rowan's like, you got anything else up your sleeve that you haven't told me about? And she's like, the letters, now I swear you know everything. First of all, I do not believe her. Nobody ever knows everything. But if she is being honest, I respect that. The power couple then saunters into a war meeting with Chaol, Prince Cassian, and the insufferable Lord of Anil to orchestrate an aggressive march north towards the treacherous Varian Gap. After Chaol beautifully outmaneuvers his bigoted father by trading a slice of land to the wild men of the Fangs, because he outranks him, because he's Hand of the King, for secret mountain shortcuts, the crew heads over to the medical tent to watch Yrene use her brilliant white light magic to successfully purge a literal Vogue demon in an explosion of nasty black vomit. So that's the first time that
we've seen that. Or they've seen it.
Yeah, they've seen it. And so we now know we have 2 really incredible weapons against the Vogue.
Yeah.
And it's Aelin's fire and Yrene's
healing.
Exorcism, basically.
Yeah. Last chapter.
Chapter 67 is the last chapter of part 1. While walking by the debris-choked Silver Lake, Aelin and Rowan debate using Yrene as a secret weapon against the big bads before pivoting to pull an all-night research bender on the ancient wordmark books with Borta. Borta. Meanwhile, Chaol's toxic father... I always want to say Bort.
Me too.
And then I'm like, that sounds crazy. I sound like the Swedish chef. Bork, bork, bork. Meanwhile, Chaol's toxic father tries to blackmail him with a hidden trunk full of heartfelt letters from his mother. But our favorite Hand of the King delivers an epic mic drop refusal to bargain with bastards. 2 days later, the massive coalition army officially leaves Anil behind to tackle the snowy switchbacks of the Fangs, prompting Aelin to unleash a stunning golden glow of her untamed fire magic to act as a literal beacon of hope, lighting their glorious path home to Terrasen. Dude, Chaol's dad, fuck that guy.
Yeah. He's the worst. He's I don't know.
It's like when I said this earlier in the series when I was like, I understand that Erebin is like not the big bad. I know he's not going to be the big bad, but like, let us not forget that Erebin fucking sucks.
Right.
And that is how I feel about this guy. I also said that about Duke Parents, but joke's on me because
He was the big bad.
he's Erewhon. There's just two big bads. But yeah, wow, I'm loving this book.
Yeah.
So I admitted to Rick a couple weeks ago that like this whole battle sequence is like so ingrained in my head from when I read this previously that like I didn't really remember how the book ends. Like I know how it ends, but I'm like I don't remember a lot of like the key plot points that get us there because it was so like this was like the ending for me.
Ooh, well, wait.
Just part one.
Yeah. It has been, I finished this almost a week ago. And I'm really trying to stay on pace because I know I'm the only one that can really. And so it's been hard. I've read like 3 books in the last week because I've been like, I just want to see my friends again. It's going to be harder in the last leg, I'm sure.
Sure is. So what do we think is going to happen next, Amanda?
I don't know what's happening in the third quarter. I mean, it's not even quarters. I don't know what's happening in the next section versus the final section. But I do believe Dorian's going to die. I am worried about Lysandra and Aedion. I think one or both of them may die. I don't believe any of our other main characters will die. They're going to save, I've read, like, they're going to save the world. Peace will be on Earth. Like, it's just, who are we going to lose in the process?
Right, talk to me about Maeve and Erewhon.
Oh, yeah, I really don't know. Because, like, they're not buds. They both want all of it. And so I'm really not sure how this ends.
So I'll give you a couple options. Let's throw some things out.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
I was just asking her do you think they're going to live? Do you think they're going to die?
Yeah, I don't know. One, like in my head, I think one is going to get like banished back to the demon shadow realm and one is going to die. But I don't know who's who. It's just like, I think we're going to have different journeys for each of them. And I don't really know what those journeys are.
Okay. So if you had to pick one to die, who's going to die?
I think Maeve has to die because she's more powerful somehow.
Who kills Maeve?
And because she has a personal vendetta against her.
I was going to say, and we know more about her.
Yeah, versus Erewhon can just go back with his brothers in like Shadow Realm and be locked away forever. Like that's what the lock is. But Maeve has to die. If Maeve doesn't die, that's going to be really unsatisfying for Aelin.
Okay. All right.
I hate when he does this.
Those are my questions.
Great. What do you think is going to happen next? Don't answer that. What else are we reading?
Kim?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
I've read so much, sort of, but not. I guess I've read a lot in this past week. I've read all of Heartstoppers. So I read
just one Heartstopper.
I read all 6 volumes of Heartstoppers. I read a very short one called A Tale of Cupidity by A.J. Caggiano. It was cute. It was fun. It was like 30 pages, but it was really fun. And then I finished reading ACOTAR. And now I'm starting a Court of the Green Cover. Yeah. And I have many notes. I am also so I have 2 sets of notes. I have ACOTAR notes. Well, no, I have Maas first notes, and then I have You're All Wrong About Tamlin Except Me notes.
Great.
We're going to do a separate episode where you just defend Tamlin.
At this point, I don't even think he needs to be defended. So.
All right. I've been reading. I finished Crescent City #1, House of Earth and Blood. I'll have a lot more to say on our episode. I actually think maybe we should talk about them one book at a time because I don't know that I'm going to be able to finish all of them before we need to. So we'll talk about that off the air. But yeah, it was fine. I just, I think, honestly, I think fundamentally what I struggle with is like the fact that they're angels and also they have cell phones. Like, I think that's just like hard for me. And there's just so many words and I don't know what any of them mean. But it's fine. I'd like to read the rest of them. I just like don't know if I have time. I read Heartstopper Volume 6 as my palate cleanser. I really loved it. I gave it 5 stars. I thought it was a beautiful ending to the series. I haven't watched the movie yet. We should also talk about that off the air. I listened to The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, which I don't know if I've talked about on the pod or off the pod, but is like my childhood. It is my 3 best friends from growing up, who I'm sure will never listen to this. But Rick's going to meet all of them at the bachelorette party, and Kim, you will meet them all at the wedding. But they are... We are the 4 of them, and holds up 5 stars forever. I don't think I'm going to read the rest of the series because I don't like how it ends. And so I might just leave it here. But I really loved it. And I was able to listen to it at like high speed over 2 days because I know it like the back of my hand. I read Fever Dream for my rodeo square. Redeemed cowboy romances for me. Like I don't know, there was some stuff I didn't love about it, but like, whew, the soup. I gave it 5 soups.
Nice.
It doesn't have a lot of soup, but every soup scene is excellent.
Nice.
Loved it. And then I followed that up by reading Anderson and Bloom, which I did not care for. I did not like the main character. I did not believe they had chemistry. I did not understand why everyone forgave each other. I did not think that they went through all the things they needed to go through. As time goes on, I like it less and less. I was fooled by a beautiful cover. The redeeming thing about it is that there's a lot about the language of flowers and what different flowers mean, and I loved that. So maybe I should just read a book about that. And I am listening to A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping. I wish I was reading it. I think I would be getting more from it if I was reading it, but I'm trying to do bingo. So I'm crushing it in bingo. I'm been posting on Instagram about it, but I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 out of my 25 squares. And I'm reading 3 more. We're going to do it.
All right.
We're going to do it. I'm going to get it done. So that's what I've been reading. Oh, I started Under Lock and Key, but like barely. I haven't even put it on Goodreads yet.
Oh, I know that book.
It's the one about the Loch Ness Monster.
Oh, is that what it's about?
She's trying to understand her family history, and he's the Loch Ness Monster.
All right. I got to get ready to go. So what's our homework?
All right. So we are reading... the next chapter is 68. We are reading through chapter 99. So stop when you see 100, which I imagine will be very difficult. And then we will finish up the book in our final episode.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.